Are you feeling incredibly down? Are you starting to doubt what you're working or living towards? Forgetting all of the goals you set for yourself, forgetting all the times that you were happy and motivated, starting to really doubt whether they were real or whether you gaslit yourself into thinking that you could possibly be happy. Are you on the brink of depression, constantly anxious, your body constantly on fire? You can never have a moment of rest. You're incredibly exhausted. I'm here to talk about how important it is to be vulnerable with yourself because I know the dangers of not doing so. Last night, I went through an emotional breakdown and I realized that I didn't even know I've been suppressing a lot of my needs and my emotions until last night. After my emotional breakdown, I realized how much better I felt and how much more connected I felt with myself and how lost and disconnected, not only from myself, but from other human beings I've been. How can you really connect with others if you don't even know yourself? So for me, the reason that I have been ignoring it subconsciously is because I want to become my ideal self. I understand we work towards that ideal version of ourselves because the current version embodies so many lesser qualities that you simply don't want. It doesn't do us any favors. They're undesirable. Isn't that what manifestation is all about? Embodying the qualities that you want to become and feeling the feelings that you want to feel. The positive ones, not the negative ones. The negative ones will not serve you. If I'm supposed to be confident, self-loving, magnetic, incredibly charismatic, someone who's loving, someone who is kind, how can I embody that ideal self while at the same time I'm feeling all of these emotions that seem to pull me towards an opposite direction? I'm not really feeling those positive feelings. How can I be insecure? How can I feel unloved, feel hurt, wounded, and have all of these feelings that someone like that wouldn't feel? All of these emotions that if I acknowledge them, I'm undoing my progress, right? That's the harmful side of manifestation. You become ashamed of your own emotions. You subconsciously suppress them because you think they will not serve you. Therefore, if you ignore them, they will eventually go away. You are manifesting. I'm not against embodying traits of your ideal self, and I'm not against manifesting. What I'm asking you to do is to be aware of your emotions and not repress them. Here's why you shouldn't be scared of your feelings. You are not your feelings. You are not your emotions. Therefore, feeling them and acknowledging them is not undoing any progress at all. I'll tell you what your feelings are. Your feelings, they are signs, temporary things, temporary signs that point towards something in you that needs attention and needs taken care of. When you have a physical wound, you don't become your injury. That doesn't become part of your personality. The first thing you do is you take care of that wound so it can heal more quickly till you can thrive again. The thing you don't do is you roll around in the grass and you stretch your skin, you make the wound even bigger, and it gets an infection. It's the same thing with your emotional needs, your emotional wounds. Take care of your wounds. They need healing. And don't be ashamed that you got a wound. Don't be ashamed to acknowledge your feelings of loneliness, your feelings of wanting to be loved, your feelings of insecurity, your feelings of feeling lesser than. Those are all signs that something in you needs attention, needs help, and needs taking care of. Why would you ignore that? My advice, pay attention to them, acknowledge them, and follow them and see where they lead. That is more productive than ignoring them. All you're doing with this toxic manifestation whilst ignoring part of you that needs taking care of, you're rejecting your needs and hoping that you will suddenly become this incredibly happy and peaceful person. Your jealousy and your greed are not desirable, but you shouldn't just push them down and ignore them and say, I'm not a jealous person. I'm not a greedy person. Why do you feel those feelings? That needs work. You need healing. You don't ignore them until they disappear because they don't. All you're doing is suppressing them until they become so pressurized that they eventually burst. You really are ignoring a part of yourself. That is really the danger of toxic positivity. It's eliminating everything that is you and wishing to build from a blank state, build from an empty vessel. And you simply can't do that. You don't have the materials, you don't have the foundation. You're just building an incredible, fragile figure that eventually will crumble. That happened to me yesterday. Now, leading to the breakdown, did I have incredibly stressful, incredibly anxiety ridden days where I didn't even feel like myself, where I knew I didn't feel like myself and I tried to connect with myself, but I just couldn't because I was trying to look for someone while I was rejecting parts of that person. How can I look for someone when I don't have the full picture while I am intentionally pushing away certain parts of that person while looking for that exact same person? That person doesn't exist. The most scary thing is how unlike yourself you feel, how disconnected you feel from humanity, your own humanity, and from other people. Because when you're not being vulnerable with yourself, you're not being authentic, but you're trying to put a mask of authenticity, which is very paradoxical. And you're trying to be confident, to be present, while you're not even present with yourself. All you're doing is putting in a huge performance. And that becomes incredibly exhausting to your spirit, to your mental health, to your nervous system, to your body. So you're only doing a disservice to your own well being. Believe me, it is really scary. I just want you to know that you're not alone. I felt like this yesterday, and I've been feeling like this for the past 3 months. And as time goes on, it only gets worse. And I guess it's been building towards that breakdown. And I want you to learn something from my experience. You can't wish yourself into being happy. You have to take care of your needs. And you do. You do have to learn to accept the current version of yourself. How can you really say that you're taking care of yourself and you're loving yourself when you're truly just rejecting every part of you that you don't want? Is that how you're going to take care of your child? You're just going to reject every part of them that you don't like? That's why Jung said you can't reject your shadow. You have to integrate it. I think that's the deepest form of self-love. It's not saying how pretty you are in the mirror. It's not taking yourself on dates every single day. Those are all wonderful practices. But the deepest form, the base, the foundation is self-acceptance. And knowing that accepting is the first step towards building towards the version of yourself that you can become. But that version of yourself comes from you accepting who you are today. This is the first step towards your well-being. Your innermost self. Acknowledge that. If you feel like you're there for yourself and you feel like you can see that person, you can see your innermost essence. I don't want to use these words, but I'm trying my best to describe this whole process. You have to look inwards, feel connected to yourself first, so you can feel connected towards other people. You can be present and you can build towards that version of yourself that you want to become. Accepting doesn't mean that you'll be this way forever. It's accepting who you are and saying it's okay, but I'm trying to go beyond. So don't be scared. Don't feel ashamed of your own emotions. It's really the self-compassion, the self-acceptance that we need right now. It's really feeling connected to yourself, feeling connected to your own emotions, knowing that they do not define you, but they point towards something deeper that you actually need to look at directly and address it. Let me tell you something about healing. Healing is not linear, and healing is not a one-time thing. Your healing process, when you integrate parts of yourself, when you integrate your shadow, you will make progress and you have regression. But you have to look at the bigger picture. As long as you're taking 3 steps forward and 2 steps back, you will always be making progress, your net progress. And I know it feels scary when you regress. It feels like you're back to the same place. You've regressed so far that it feels like you haven't made any progress at all. But believe me, every day that passes, that you have the intention to be better, every day that you take care of emotional needs, you are building towards something. You are building, you are not destroying. So if right now you're feeling lesser feelings and you try to heal them, and 2 months from now you're feeling them again, they're pointing towards something. Again, it's not something that you heal once and you never have to pay attention to them again. It's not. And you're not, let me stress this, you're not undoing any progress. Looking at the bigger picture, we're all making progress one step at a time. These things are cyclical because healing is not linear. I had a breakdown, I will have a breakdown 2 months from now. I'm not being pessimist. I am drawing conclusions from my experience. I know this is cyclical, but I know each time I am also learning more about myself. I'm also more and more in control. I'll know how to deal with it better next time. What I really want you to get out of this is that being authentic, which is a key part of happiness and a key part of showing up and being confident, is accepting parts of yourself. You can't become authentic if you're not vulnerable with yourself, if you don't feel connected to yourself. You're putting on a mask that has nothing to do with you, that rejects you, rejects your emotional needs. Vulnerability is authenticity. Vulnerability is how you find yourself, is how you create a secure base to build your ideal self. You can't build your ideal self on an empty vessel, on falsehoods. All of your lesser emotions, all that vulnerability is authenticity, and it is what it takes for you to reach where you want to go and become who you want to become. That version of yourself is authentic. So I hope you can work towards holding your own hand, looking at your own self in the eye, and being present for your own damn self. Look at yourself. Close your eyes. Look inwards. What do you need? What have you been needing that you've been ignoring? And whatever you're feeling right now, know that you're really not alone. And because you're feeling it doesn't make you any lesser. It doesn't mean that you're not progressing. Those feelings are more than human. I simply want you to stop feeling disconnected from your own self, which in turn is causing you to feel disconnected to everyone else. Your empathy that has been shut down, you're nurturing that again. Being empathetic is how you become present. It's how you do active listening and how you can build all your social skills and your interpersonal relationships. You can really be happy or feel at peace when you do not even see yourself. You do not even feel like yourself in your everyday life. You wake up and you immediately put on this mask. Performing to who? You wake up, you're performing to yourself. How can you really feel at peace or be happy like that? So please start with the deepest form of self-love. Accept the version of you today. And I hope you feel more connected with yourself and feel like you truly see yourself afterwards. And you feel this incredible compassion and incredible connection towards your own self, which will make you much more empathetic. And in turn, you will go out into the world and you will look at people. You will look into their eyes and see their stories, their feelings, and see their souls. That is the empathy being activated. As basic as it sounds, this is really a call to love yourself. But we're taking self-acceptance as self-love first. Some might call it integrating your shadow, healing your inner child. For me, it's less about concepts. Concepts are a way for you to understand each framework and the theory. But what I'm concerned about is you putting theory into practice. Instead of studying well-being and studying psychology and mental health, you can actually become more at peace, become more self-loving. So what does this all mean? How can you put it into practice? I want you to pause this video, go sit with yourself, really see yourself, not in the mirror, your internal being. Close your eyes and ask yourself, what have I been missing, been ignoring? What are the feelings that I've been rejecting because I simply do not want them? Well, now is your time to want them back. I want you to really see that part of yourself, accept it. You're not going to hold on to them. You're going to look at them in the eye, follow them, and see what parts of you are feeling that and how can you take care of it. That's how easy it is to love yourself. It's just accepting, being vulnerable. Self-care is taking care of your emotional needs as well, not just doing your skincare and going on shopping sprees. First step, become vulnerable with yourself. Understand that acknowledging and accepting these lesser feelings doesn't define you and doesn't mean that you're not progressing towards your ideal self and the version of self you want to become. But it is essential, it's a foundational step for you to build towards that and build towards inner growth and inner healing. And you can't skip it. That's the first step. You can't build from a shaky ground, and you can't build from an empty vessel. I hope that tomorrow you will wake up and you can feel more connected. And whatever you're feeling, know that you're not alone. You're really not. And you're so incredibly strong. Whatever regressions you've been having, if you take a few steps back, you will see that the whole picture points towards progress. And I'm so incredibly proud. I know how hard it can be. I know how it feels like. I know you're building towards that version of yourself despite your circumstances, and it takes a lot of strength, and I see that, and I want you to see that too. I want you to feel proud of yourself. You deserve to be. Look what you've endured. Look at your character. Not all the bad things you believe about yourself, but every day that you try, what does that say about you? That's you. I truly, truly am so proud of you, and I love you so much. I hope that this stream of consciousness spoke to you and found you in a moment that you need most. I believe you, and I want you to believe in yourself. Much love.